Hello and welcome to the webinar. We're going to give everyone a few minutes to come on board and then we'll get started. Thanks. Welcome to the Myositis Association's meet and greet with TMA's new leadership. I'm Rachel Bromley, TMA Senior Manager of Patient Education Support and Advocacy. We are so pleased to have our new Board Chair Laurie Boyer and new ED Paula Eichenbrenner with us today. After Laurie Boyer's older brother Tommy passed away from dermatomyositis in 2012, she and other members of her family created a foundation to provide financial assistance to myositis patients to fulfill her brother's wish to help others with this rare disease. Since that time, Laurie has been a fervent supporter of TMA and its mission-driven work. She became chair of the board in January 2024, following service as vice chair and director. She lives in Port St. Lucie, Florida, where she is a district administrator for St. Lucie Public Schools, focusing on instructional technology, marketing outreach, and STEM initiatives. She has been happily married to her firefighter husband, Wayne, for over 20 years, and they have two teenage children, Derek and Pippi. She enjoys spending her free time attending their music and sports competitions. And Paula became executive director of TMA in December of 2023. Her prior leadership roles include executive director of the Academy of Managed Care Pharmacy Foundation and the American Society for Nutrition's ASN Foundation. Paula is a certified association executive with fundraising and public affairs experience in diverse nonprofit settings and the immediate past president of the Association Foundation Group. Paula's passion for patient advocacy was developed through her role as care manager for her brother, who has significant mental illness. She volunteers for community organizations focused on veterans, behavioral health, and housing first interventions to address homelessness. She is an avid reader and can often be found walking with her fiance Ian and rescue poodle Leo. I don't know why, but am I hosting the dating game? I just am a little bit too excited, but let me go ahead and pass it on to Paula.
Thanks, Rachel. We're really excited to be with you all today, whatever kind of game this is. Laurie and I are so here for it. We're grateful that you're all here too. Rachel asked that I remind everyone that the webinar is being recorded, and so you can relive this hilarity or share with your friends and fellow TMA members via our YouTube channel. The recording will be up by the end of next week, by February 9th. And we have a lot of time today to take questions. Laurie and I really want this to be an open conversation with all of you gathered in Zoom. And so you can keep chatting. Love the chat. Also love if you could send us questions via the Q&A tool. That will help us make sure that we can touch on all the topics you're interested in. So thank you so much for that. Before we get into Q&A, we have just a few slides to share with you. So Laurie, I'll pass it over to you.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Paula. Thank you, everyone. I see everyone is joining us from Wisconsin to the Carolinas to Maryland and our friends there in Texas. So thank you so much for taking time to join us today. Just wanted to start off by reminding us a little bit about TMA's mission and vision. So as you can see on the screen, we have that the mission is to improve the lives of persons affected by myositis, fund innovative research, and increase myositis awareness and advocacy. Ultimately, our vision would be a world without myositis, and that's what the TMA staff and the board of directors is working hard on each and every day with your support. So thank you.
So Laurie, part of this meet and greet is for folks to get to know us a little better. How about we play a little bit of this or that?
Gotta love some this or that. I'm always up for a good game, although they do get a little feisty in our family because we all like to win.
Uh,
We'll keep
well,
it calm today.
yeah, I was just going to say, without getting competitive, maybe let's get a little personal. And we'd love for everyone on the Zoom to chime in the chat box and let us know for the this or that. So first up is coffee or tea. And I'm a coffee girl, Lori. What about you?
Well, this one absolutely has to be tea for me because, fun fact, I've never drank an ounce of coffee in my life. I know.
And yet your energy levels are always so high.
I start my day with water. Sounds awfully boring, but most people in my family sure do love a good cup of coffee. It gets them going for their day.
Well, it's interesting to see that a lot of people in the chat are, split as well, but I think coffee has the lead. So being that I am in team latte, I'm happy to see that.
Sounds good.
Okay, so next up, we're gonna keep building on our mornings here and have a this or that for breakfast or dinner.
I mean, I enjoy breakfast for dinner sometimes, so not going with this or that, but I guess if I had to pick, I'd go with dinner. Just I like the variety of options at dinner time.
I
Let's
would
see.
pick dinner too, but I
You
love
would
this
too?
expression of Brenner. And then Jane
You know,
said, "Why is there an or in this question?" Holly said, "Brunch." Yeah, this is
exactly. I do enjoy actually a good dinner, that kind of in between time, lunch and dinner. That works out well in our family.
Yeah. Actually, I was here at the TMA office on Tuesday of this week also, and as I was packing up my things to get out the door in the morning, Ian said, "Did you pack your lunch?" And I said, "I packed my lunch and I packed my snack."
Exactly. Snacks are
So,
imperative.
yeah, all
Oh,
the
yep.
meals.
I think James agrees. He says grazing all day. So quality snacks throughout.
That's the way to do it. Okay, what about this one? Passenger or
So
driver?
for me, I live in Florida. It's an extremely flat state. So I'm fine with being a passenger, but if I'm in a state that has, high terrain, I'd prefer to be the driver and as we
Mm.
go in higher elevations.
I always prefer to be the passenger. I'll be quite honest with everyone here. This is a vulnerable moment for me, but I have situational obliviousness. Like I can never find my car in the parking lot. If I'm going somewhere, I don't usually get lost so much as I just get kind of distracted and end up in a very different place than I intended to be. So it's, really not great when I'm the driver. It's much better if I'm the passenger.
I like it. I see two people like Jane, they're doing things like knitting and controlling the music as a passenger. So that's a good thing, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, next up on the this or that list, we have attend a party or host a party.
I personally would like to simply attend.
I would host. I'm with Holly and Terry on that one, and I'd probably have a theme and be looking for a chance to put on something really sparkly. But I like to attend a party too, and it definitely takes some energy to host.
I believe you'd be the host with the most. I would attend for sure.
I like that Suds has chimed in here with no cleanup, prefer to attend. There's some good logic there, a man of reason to be sure.
Absolutely.
Okay, this or that. What's next? Sweet or savory? Back to the grazing all day. I'm a savory person myself. My snacks are like chips, crackers, nuts.
Yeah, I do enjoy a good savory moment. But then sometimes I like to follow it up with something sweet. So,
Mhm.
it's a good combo. I see some people are agreeing with the sweet. They really enjoy their chocolate out there. That's for sure. That's what I'm seeing.
Sweet and salty. That's actually another future t-shirt for Howard to get printed up. I think that would be a great one.
I like it.
And some chocolate coming in too. Votes for chocolate. All right. Well, one more, calls or texts. Probably it's text for me. I do like calling maybe this is why I shouldn't also be driving, but I do love calling when I'm driving. Like if I'm driving home from work, I love to call my mom and talk to her at the end of the day. Otherwise, text.
Well, we definitely have that in common. I usually call my mom on my way to work. It's a good start to my day. So I do enjoy a good phone call, but text, I love to throw GIFs in the text or show my expression with an emoji. So, and I feel like it's always, you know, at my fingertips so I could get back to people really quickly, no matter how busy the day is.
Mm-hmm. There is an immediacy in text, but you know, the long form call still has some value. So, well, this has been a really fun round of this or that. We could probably keep going in this vein, but I guess we should get a little bit serious because these are really important roles we have assumed, Laurie, as TMA's new
Absolutely.
chair and new executive director. So can you tell us a little bit about what our roles mean and what the board does?
Absolutely. And thanks so much for playing along with us. That was a good time to get to know you guys a little bit better. But on a serious note, the board of directors, I do have the privilege of being the chair of the board this year and next. And, you know, to give you some insight into what they focus on as a whole, they focus on strategy planning and fiduciary oversight. So with some of the strategy planning, we talk about, you know, the mission, the key purposes. We develop essentially like some big picture plans and how are we going to achieve those throughout a specific time frame. As you've noticed, if you've been with TMA for a while, there's been an increase in programmatic offerings through the years and the forms and ways in which we do that. So we work with the TMA staff and executive director to monitor those programs, see where the services are needed, and you know, see how we can continue to enhance our outreach regarding resources, awareness, and understanding. From the fiduciary oversight standpoint, we work hard to ensure strong financial management, which includes budget approval, development, and investment oversight. We have some great financial gurus that have joined our board over the years, and we're very appreciative of their efforts. And all the board members, they do engage in various committees, such as finance committee, development committee, and governance committee to ensure that we're following our policies, procedures, we're staying up to date, and that we're offering the best that we can to our community through programs and resources. One of the big things with our fiduciary oversight is that we also take part in fundraising and resource development. So, you know, we always have an open ear. If you ever want to share with us a way, you know, that you would like to see us take part in some fundraising offerings, or you know, if you have an idea for a program, obviously we're very willing to listen, and you know, we want to hear from the community so that we can engage with Executive Director Paula and the wonderful TMA staff to, you know, bring forth the change and offerings that are needed. Now, as the board chair, I have this distinct privilege of actually helping to develop you know, the goals, working with the whole board of directors to develop the goals and all of our meeting agendas. We meet on a very regular basis. I oversee the appointing of the committees in conjunction with the executive committee and the executive director, and then oversight for the executive director, the team, and tactical implementation of strategy. So, you know, we're always learning and growing and doing as much as we can. And, you know, as far as our board of directors, it is an all volunteer board of directors. And we really appreciate them giving their time, talents, and treasure to TMA and the myositis community as a whole.
Well, I would co-sign all of that, Laurie, and I want to share with everybody on the line today just how impressed I was with TMA from the very first encounter I had, which was last spring. You know, the board had a selection committee, which Laurie chaired, and was hard at work networking, looking to find a leader to assume this role to be executive director. And I spent quite a bit of time with Laurie, Holly, Rich, Dave, many others on the board and on the selection committee as we got to know one another. And these leaders are just frankly tireless. The level of enthusiasm and the level of creativity that the board is bringing to their work was really exciting to me. And now that I'm here in the role, up and running for 8 weeks now, I'm just as excited and energized by the board as I was in my very first interview. So I hope that all of you get a chance to come to know the board better, including our 4 newest members who just joined in January in the new board. And if you come to the annual conference in September, you can perhaps get to know everyone in person a little bit better. But we're excited about this potential model of doing a meet and greet and trying to spend some time with you virtually. So look forward to your feedback on all of that. And I'm happy to answer any questions about what it means to be TMA Executive Director, or, Laurie can do the same in Q&A if you want to know, like what's the day-to-day look like for our jobs, volunteer and otherwise.
Absolutely. And we have heard from the community over the years too. So we've been working on board engagement on, how we can connect. And as Paula had mentioned, one of the greatest ways is through the annual patient conference. So please do not be shy. Connect with us. Let us listen to what it is that you want to share with us, because that's what we're here for.
So Laurie, you're now chair of the board for 2 years, right? So you're chair in 2024
Correct.
and 2025. Do you have a vision for how TMA emerges from this 2-year chapter of our history stronger than ever?
Absolutely. So honestly, thinking about the next 2 years, really wanted to focus on communication, collaboration, and community. Those are, I think, 3 really important pillars to us being successful as a myositis community and supporting one another. So, when thinking about communication, really ensuring, you may have seen that there's been additional social media posts that have been going out there to try and raise awareness and communicate out to the masses, even beyond the myositis community, families, friends, partners, things of that nature. In addition, we want to continue to enhance our communication through email opportunities. So sharing the latest and greatest that's going on in TMA and the offerings and resources that are there, but then also being ever present. So communicating through support groups and affinity groups, attending webinars, and being a part of things like this, the meet and greet, where we get to just connect, and there's the fun side to it and the serious side to it, where we get to learn a little more about one another, and it just helps to make those conversations much more effortless in the future when we do get to meet in person or via teleconference or whatnot. Another aspect is collaboration. We're in a post-pandemic world, and a lot has changed over the last couple of years since the pandemic. And from that, we've, utilized things like technology to collaborate in ways that we never have before. We definitely want to continue to grow that with webinars and things of that nature, but also just having the opportunity to collaborate with members of the community. We have ad hoc groups that we work with and get some feedback. You'll see collaboration as far as surveys and feedback that we want to hear on very specific topics as we plan out future events and resources and learning and awareness opportunities as well. And then last but not least, community. Not one of us could do this alone, right? So we are a community, and together we are stronger. And ever since I joined this community it's almost actually over 11 years now, they've always just been so embracing. And that's something that everyone says every year when they go to the annual patient conference, that they feel like they're now part of a community, whereas before they may have felt alone. So we want to continue to grow that community feel by ensuring that we're meeting the TMA members' needs. Everyone's needs are a little bit different, so it's really important that we reach out and listen and hear from the community. Also, that as a community, we unite to raise the awareness, to raise advocacy, to ensure better understanding of what myositis is. I know I personally remember the first time I said to someone dermatomyositis, and literally they tried to talk through it. How do you say that? Dermatomyositis, So raising the community here within the myositis community, with our partners, with our MAB, and with the staff and with people out there that are not currently a part of the myositis community. Let's bring them in and let Let's let them know the amazing people that we have here and how they can help support us. So that's honestly, I feel like if we can touch on these three things, Paula, over the next 2 years as the board chair, I know I'll have peace in my heart that we're doing the right thing for the myositis community as a whole. And that's my goal.
I agree, Laurie, and I so appreciate the clarity you're bringing to your role as chair of the board and your willingness to stand together in front of the TMA universe today and say, this is what we want. We want to get better at communication. We want to be more effective at collaborating, and we want the community to flourish. And, we want all of you to give us feedback and to help us, know when we're on track or know when we need a little more input. And so actually, exactly to that point, we have a couple of poll questions for you today during our meet and greet. And the first poll question should be popping up shortly. So it's a multiple choice, and we'd very much like to know what you would prefer that we focus on over the next 2 years in these roles as chair of the board and executive director. So hopefully you can see the poll question. It says, which part of TMA's mission do you think we should focus on in 2024? I see we have a couple of responses coming in. We'll let that spool, just for another minute or so we can give everyone the maximum ability to participate in the poll. Oh, yeah, we got a couple dozen responses now, so that's looking good.
Perfect. Yep, they're coming in.
Research about myositis currently rating very highly, with 46% of attendees thinking we should focus on that. But not far behind, supporting people with myositis and their families. This is like maybe asking you to pick a favorite child, Laurie, and we would never do that in a public setting that's being recorded.
I'd be split 50-50,
Right. Well, and I think that's, important to realize for TMA, like we are a small organization, but we have a multifaceted, very big, very bold mission. And I know I speak on behalf of the entire staff team when I say we wake up and we come to work here at the headquarters office or at home in our home offices occasionally, wherever we are, we're coming to work and we're looking to advance across that entire mission. What can we do? At least one thing a day in research and patient support, in awareness, in advocacy. So, Laurie, if you end the poll, I think that we'll be able to share the results with attendees.
Absolutely. Here we go. Can you guys see it?
Maybe if someone can confirm in the chat and let us know. I can see it, but
There's lots of
I am
views and
also a
lots of
panelist.
screens, right?
Anything surprising you here, Laurie?
Fantastic. Okay, we're getting confirmation that some people, they can see it.
Great.
That is great to know. No, honestly, I would say the top two that we hear oftentimes is in regards to research and supporting people with myositis and their families. And, and that is something that the board, the staff, we're always looking at those two areas and trying to determine what's the best avenues to go down, partnering with the MAB, determining, the best ways to approach research and, seeing what's going on there in the community. The footprint for the myositis community itself has changed very much over the last 11 years that I've been, a part of it. And so it's just being that lifelong learner and being ever present with the changes that might be occurring and understanding the needs of the community. And I think this speaks to that very much so.
Well, we really appreciate everyone's feedback and participation in the poll. We have a few more poll questions coming up for you later. So we'll do that again. But first, we wanted to highlight a few ways that, all of you can get more involved in the TMA community. Of course, we know you're here. We may be speaking to those who are already very involved, but Laurie and I, we are not doing this alone. I cannot succeed as your executive director without your engagement, and she can't succeed as chair of the board either. So Laurie, can you tell us how TMA members can get more involved?
Absolutely. So let's start with supporting one another, right? We said that we want to be there for one another, and we have two different ways in which that happens. So we have support groups, which essentially allow patients in specific areas or regions to come together, typically in person. However, post-pandemic, there has been, sometimes a hybrid form of that. And they're really meant to support each other, develop friendships, and learn more about living with myositis diseases. So, sometimes there's tips and tricks, like we've had, shared at conferences before, that are shared out during these support group meetings, which is wonderful. And the cadence in which they happen are different depending upon the region and the leaders. Also, I can't move on from this without saying thank you to the support group leaders, because as we said earlier, we're all volunteer board. Well, they're all volunteer support group leaders and affinity group leaders, and we honestly couldn't do it without them and the support of the TMA staff, like with Rachel and Linda. Now, on the flip side, actually, before I go on with the support groups, over the years, we've actually had numerous groups that have had very long tenure. So we're very proud and appreciate the efforts of some of the support groups, such as Southern California, Northern Illinois, and Southwest Florida, that have been long-standing for over 15 years. That's no small feat, right, Paula?
No, I mean, that's amazing. That's more than half the history of TMA's existence, going on 31 years now. And those 3 support groups, they've been around for almost the entire time that TMA has been formed. So it's incredible.
Absolutely. Now, on the flip side of that, something that is more recent for our members is affinity groups. So affinity groups, they were formed essentially as an opportunity to connect one another in the myositis community around a commonality that exists beyond myositis. So it's myositis and beyond. So distance is no barrier to the affinity groups. They meet, they could be from all over the globe, all over the United States, any state in particular, and they can connect virtually. We currently have 8 affinity groups at this time, and each one brings great opportunities for its members. Some of the shining moments, that are out there is that the Women of Color group, they're celebrating their 5-year anniversary in 2024, which is awesome. The Women with IBM group, if you haven't attended one of their sessions, you definitely want to try and catch it, because they have monthly speaker series that are absolutely fantastic, world-class opportunities to learn. And then groups like the Veterans Affinity Group, they've helped members focus on advocacy with VA benefits, which, it's not an easy task to navigate that alone. So coming together as an affinity group is great, and no boundaries, because whether you're in Washington State or Florida, you could connect together on that. So these have been a great way to get involved in the community, either from the comfort of your home or in your local community by, attending a support group. So either way is a great way to jump in and get your feet wet and learn from one another and support one another.
Absolutely. And we do have a couple of openings where support and affinity groups could use another dynamic leader or co-leader to step up and join forces. So if you're interested, be sure to check out the TMA Myo News, our monthly e-newsletter, which should be in your inboxes from earlier this morning. And there's information in there about how you can join these groups and perhaps even raise your hand to become a leader. So what about
Excellent.
TMA's International Annual Patient Conference, Laurie? I mean, of course, we hope we'll see all of you there, but are there other opportunities to get involved at or with the conference?
Absolutely. Yeah, so we had a wonderful opportunity going to the West Coast in California and San Diego this past year. And honestly, it did it was a bucket filler for me, because I got to see so many people I haven't seen, for a couple of years, and it genuinely energizes you for the rest of the year. So this year in September, we're very excited to see everyone in Maryland. Okay, it's going to be a wonderful time in September, and there's ways for you to get involved. So put your thinking caps on now, because these are just some of them, but we're always, interested in what you have to say. So we always are looking for room volunteers for the different sessions, AKA mic runners, reminding people to fill out surveys, and just overall, being a great assistance as people are getting into the various sessions. Something else that we'd like to do are conference buddies for first-time attendees. I remember my first conference I attended, I felt like a deer in headlights. It's a wonderful learning experience, but it's a lot to digest. And we want you to feel comfortable from the start, that you can buddy up with someone, that you can, ask some questions, get some guidance. And even the people that you meet, that you buddy up with, they can connect you with, other people in groups and that they've come across through the years. So a conference buddy is also another great way. And then we also want you to attend pre-conference programming. So make sure that you keep your eye and ears open for that information when we share it out. So once again, we want to make sure that you're a registered member so that we could get communication out to you and keep that flowing and going so you could get involved at the IAPC this year. And we're going to be right in your backyard there, right, Paula?
That's right. We're really excited. It feels like even more of a homecoming or a reunion than usual for us because yes, the TMA office is in Columbia, Maryland, which is only about 20 or 25 minutes from where the conference will take place at the Hilton Baltimore. So yes, we are so stoked to show all of you the best that Maryland has to offer. And Laurie, I think we have a poll question about the conference, don't we?
We sure do. So let's get this launched. Our second poll question here. We want to know which part of TMA's International Annual Patient Conference is most valuable to you. Do you find the most value in breakout sessions, Q&A with the TMA Medical Advisory Board, the networking opportunities, or not sure because you haven't attended yet? And that's perfectly okay too. We hope to see you there this year. So we'll give them a second to fill that out.
While you all have a chance to complete the poll, I will just say I'm super excited to attend an entire IAPC. Last year, I was able to fly to San Diego for just about 43 hours, so about half of the conference. I had just accepted this role, but not yet left my prior organization and had other commitments, of course, but it was amazing to be there and not least to see the staff team in action and to include, of course, TMA's interim executive director who led us last year, Rhonda Buckley Bishop. So it was just an amazing experience to meet those who were able to come in person and then to also have the opportunity to network with folks that were connected on the live Zoom sessions and the like too. So we have about 85% of attendees having completed the poll, Laurie, if you want to share the results.
Absolutely. All right, so it looks like breakout sessions for the win. Over 41% said that was most important to them, followed up with a close tie of Q&A with the TMA Medical Advisory Board, which always, you just find so impactful. Every single time I learn something new, it stretches my thinking. I start to make connections in my head about, different things related to myositis that I didn't think about before. And I very much appreciate their passion for helping the myositis community, on their myositis journey medically. But what's also exciting here, Paula, is that I see there's 27% that haven't attended an APC yet. So hopefully we'll get to see you in person in Maryland, if that's okay, or if you have the opportunity to do such.
And we are looking forward to enriching the TMA Conference Scholarship Program so that we can help more members of the community join us in person. And for those who are unable to travel, I did want to share that we will at least have the same sort of flow as last year, where we recorded many of the sessions and made them available virtually. We're still vetting the ability to have live Zoom sessions, so a bit of a hybrid experience. And this is definitely where we want TMA to grow. It's a little bit difficult now that we are, about 7.5 months out from the conference to know exactly how the tech specs will permit us to offer a vibrant virtual experience, but we're really committed to figuring that out. And we know that it's important to many of you. So thank you for continuing to express that you want to engage virtually.
Absolutely.
And thanks again for showing up today. Okay, so this is our next to last slide, right, Laurie? So we're going to get into some more questions shortly. But can you recap other ways to get involved with TMA?
Sure. So some other ways you can organize a fundraiser. We have a great picture here of one of our newest board members, Chip, being his myositis warrior self right there. He recently hosted a wonderful fundraiser for TMA, and just really helped raise not only funds, but awareness in his community. You can also share your story via TMA. So we have on staff Linda Cobert, who is a wonderful writer for us, and she helps to bring everyone's story to life. So we definitely, the more that we can share that out there, the better. You could also help facilitate one of the support or affinity groups. I saw in the chat earlier, some of the leaders said, yes, absolutely, we need volunteers. So if that's something that's of interest to you, you can reach out to TMA, and we're happy to get you connected with the local support groups or affinity groups to help facilitate them. And then advocate during Myositis Awareness Month. We will be sharing more information out about ways in which you could do that. I know that through the years, I personally have gone and gotten proclamations in my local city, town, county. You could do it at the state level. All of that are just really great, easy ways. Also, sometimes even reaching out to local newspapers or media that offer community spots where you can share your story and you can share why Myositis Awareness Month is important. On top of that, we would love for you to send us your ideas. We've had a lot of great ideas fly our way since literally January 1st in these roles. And I promise you, Paul and I have feverishly been taking note of them. We're using technology to keep it in a shared space and place so we could constantly discuss it, review it, and look to elevate those and bring those ideas to life. So those are just some ways that you can get involved with TMA, and we'd be extremely appreciative.
Thank you, Laurie. And thanks everyone for considering how you can deepen your relationship with TMA, because this is definitely a community-oriented organization. And so to that end, we are now shortly going to exit the slides, and you can literally ask us anything. We are open to any questions that you have, and I think some have been coming in through the Q&A functionality. So Rachel, will you be moderating for us and sending us questions?
Absolutely will. So let's get
Awesome.
started. Thank you so much. That was amazing. I know everybody out there is just as excited as I am. So thank you for doing this. Let's get started first. And this one is for both of you. Either one of you can grab it first, but how would you describe your leadership style?
I'll defer to you, Laurie.
Yeah, sounds good. Honestly, I've been a volunteer in a variety of board roles for a variety of different organizations through the years, and whether it's in a volunteer capacity or in the workplace, I try to be a leader that listens and helps elevate those around me. To me, that's important, and I think that as the board chair, that is really what I want to do. I want to ensure that board members feel engaged with their volunteer time, that they're getting the most out of their opportunities to serve our community, and that I'm there to support our executive director with her wonderful excitement and empathy and ambition for the myositis community. So I think that the more expertise we added more people to the board, as people have termed off, and every year I just feel like we're getting stronger and stronger as we look at board demographics, expertise, areas of interest and passion, because honestly, passion and purpose put together can make us unstoppable as an organization. And so I really, like to have a listening ear, support, but also be realistic with coming through on asks that are given, and I think if we communicate and talk through it, set timelines, then we're able to, bring things to fruition. And so that's ultimately how I tend to, lead others. What about you, Paula?
I've definitely witnessed that in action, I think, Laurie. So you're authentically fulfilling that personal leadership philosophy. My leadership philosophy is probably not dissimilar. I think I'm very transparent as a leader, very communicative. Some people would say talkative, but
it's in our genes. We can't help it. I come from a family of Italians, right?
Very
There goes
loud
the
dinner
hand.
table action for sure. And I think empathetic and really, hardworking. What I try to live by is an ethos where I don't ask anyone that I work with or volunteer with to do anything that I won't do myself. So I really am like a roll the sleeves up and try to figure this out type of leader. And that has served me well, I think, so far. And I'm hoping that it will do so here at TMA. And again, I'm just deeply honored to be here in this job and to be on the line with all of you today. And I just want all of you to know that I am working really hard every day to re-earn the privilege of being your executive director, because it's something that, the day that Dave Mokel called to offer me the job, I view that as a daily sort of reacceptance for me and a need for me to re-earn the trust that you all have placed in me.
Well, thank you so
Well,
much. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and thank you. We definitely took time with the process to make sure we got the right energetic and empathetic leader in place with a wonderful expertise skill set. And so thank you, because your impact in this last 8 weeks has been very meaningful.
That is for sure. Okay, what new changes are on the horizon for TMA? Laurie, that's for you.
So there's been a lot going on in the last 8 weeks. We've had a lot of idea generation. We're always sticking, obviously, with mission-driven work. So although, there's a lot of different ideas that are out there, we try to relate it back to what is our mission, what are we focusing in on, and how can we most effectively do that. With that being said, we are looking to do some exciting things for Myositis Awareness Month coming up. We also are looking to, grow things such as opportunities to get the membership involved. And so as you can see, that was some of our focus in the slides today. We want to make it clear how you can connect with the community as a whole. And, your expertise and your time and your talent is invaluable to us. And so we just want to make sure that we give you an opportunity to elevate it. I'll turn the mic over to Paula at this time so that she could share a little more. I don't want to steal her thunder for her and the staff, because they have great ideas and great things that they're working on.
Well, thanks, Laurie. At the same time, we are always looking for new and better ways of fulfilling TMA's mission. We also don't want to change what we don't need to, right? And so I appreciate that this person asked what changes are on the horizon. And in some ways, we're trying to create more consistency. So when it comes to the conference, we want to double down on what we know works well about it. But we also want to extend its value before and after. So you might notice more virtual conference pre-programming or, a different way of surveying your opinion about the conference. There's definitely going to be some enhancements, I would say, but hopefully there won't be any huge, massive changes at TMA, at least for a little while, so we can all grow together and continue to build our success. There's a question in here that I kind of want to bridge into, though. Someone who is very simpatico with me in my brain has asked about conducting a broader survey of TMA membership and myositis patients. And wow, this is a heart project for me for sure. In fact, in some of the experience I had with patient advocacy organizations in my prior jobs, I worked on research surveys like this and collecting quantitative and qualitative data about a disease in the patients living with that disease, the people living with that disease. And so I think that there is a real thought leadership role for TMA, and this is the type of a project that I hope we can bring to life. And I hope this question came in anonymously. If you're willing to help me figure out how to stand up this project and to, of course, do so with the board oversight as well, don't hesitate to email me or call me. I already put my direct line in the chat, but I'll put my email here too, and it's in the slides, because that's a great example of a project that we're trying to conceptualize now. And that's the type of change, to the degree there are changes on the horizon for TMA. I think the changes are that we want to do bigger, bolder, more transformative things on your behalf, on behalf of the community.
100% agree.
Right. You, in your presentation, you talked about this, you touched on this, but it's come in a couple of times. So I want to ask it again in case we want to elaborate more, because it's obviously important to the community. What plans are there for offering a hybrid annual conference to accommodate those with myositis who can no longer travel? That
So,
can be,
yeah, thank you for that question. We did touch on it earlier, and the short answer is stay tuned, because we're trying to figure out how we can bring as much of the conference to you remotely and virtually as is possible, given the sort of necessary constraints around conference planning and, it's working with the hotel. So what I can tell you all about the International Annual Patient Conference is that today we posted a schedule at a glance. It's on our website. Perhaps someone, Linda, if you could be so kind, perhaps, as to post the link in the chat. But it's pretty easy to find if you go to our website and just click conference. And we'll be opening registration the first week of April. So we are working very hard to bring the conference plans to you as soon as possible, so that you can make decisions whether you're traveling or attending virtually in whatever capacity we can offer. And while we won't have a live virtual option that's like 24/7 streaming from the conference, probably we will have the recordings available. And we will be making recordings available as an included benefit to conference registration this year.
okay,
Absolutely.
I just put that in the chat. So you guys that want to have the first sneak peek at what we're doing at the conference, you can go to that link and see what we have. And let me go on to the next question. How do TMA members get elected to the board of directors, Laurie?
So that's a great question. This is a process that we've been, improving over the years and formalizing it and just perfecting it year after year. So essentially it starts with, we typically in the fall after the annual patient conference send out via email and let people know that we're opening up if you're interested in considering being a part of the board of directors. It's really important to us that we look at our board composition every year, and we conduct board surveys so that we understand what our board consists of. And then from there, we look for some expertise in different areas. We look for a variety in disease representation, ethnicity, everything, age, all of these things we take into account as far as what are areas for us to grow in based on our current composition. So when that inquiry goes out there, we typically hear back from the community. It's usually a Microsoft form or something like that they fill out and let us know they're interested. From there, then you hear from the board chair with an application to apply. We provide information on what it means to be a board member, what the duties and responsibilities are, and should someone be interested, then they can fill that out. From there, we take that information and then we conduct interviews with potential applicants. And we usually do a panel. Our executive committee is made up of the board, the vice chair, the treasurer, and the secretary. And then we can also add other board members on there for the nominating committee to nominate potential board members. And so I have to say, it was a pleasure this year at the annual patient conference. Got to see so many people in person, answer some questions that they had in regards to possibly being, putting in their hat in the ring to be a board member. And from there, we were able to continue to communicate. They filled it out. And then from there, we pick, a handful of people depending upon board terms and such, people terming off and how many openings we have. So we're always looking to grow that skill set and just people's passion. Like we said, passion and purpose helps us be effective as a board.
Thank you, Laurie. This one is for Paula. Will the Find a Doc link be improved to be more accurate?
Thank you for that question. I'm pleased to share that we actually completed an update on that tool just last month. And that is a tool that we're continually looking at. We'd love to hear this question asker, if you're willing to share anything about your experience with the tool specifically, do let us know. The tool is offered in partnership with MediFind, which is an aggregator of medical services and practices and clinicians, and they work with many other organizations and healthcare nonprofits. They don't work with any others that are very specific to our area of rare disease. And so, they're learning a lot from us as we learn from them how to optimize our community's use of the tool. So in addition to rerunning some of the algorithms, and we updated all of the seals so that current TMA medical advisory board members in the tool and past ones have a special little symbol on them. So we're always doing things like that, and also trying to help MediFind understand, how TMA members want to find a doc and what qualities you're looking for in your care team. So feedback there is very helpful. And that tool, Rachel, remind me, it's been live about a year, right? In partnership with MediFind.
I would say 18 months, but yeah, it hasn't been very long. So we're still in the beginning stages. And when we last met with them, they were just so helpful and wanting to really work with us to make it the best for our community. So it's a good partnership, and we'll get there. Okay, what is the best source of information for clinical trials?
Laurie, would you like to take that one? Or?
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
So I was going to say, you can actually find clinical trial information on our website. If you go under, and I apologize, because I'm just checking exactly where it is on the website to guide you correctly, but we list it under myositis.org, and then there's the research tab, and then clinical trials. These come from the website clinicaltrials.gov, which is the best place to find any clinical trials for myositis. You could essentially type in myositis or your specific form of myositis, and then that way it'll filter it down so that you could get to the relevant clinical trials that you're looking for. So either site, that's essentially where it comes from, and then we host it on our website as well. And Linda, so lovely, just dropped it in the chat for us too.
Thank you, Linda.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, we have a question. This person says, I would love to see another signature event like Fun Fit Flex. Will we have an event in the near future?
Well, thank you for asking that question. We are not planning to offer Fun Fit Flex this year in 2024, given that this is a dig in deep and grow kind of a year, but we certainly have not ruled it out in the future. And I know that there is a plethora of really fun events happening across the country, especially through TMA's third-party campaigns. We have this ability to organize fundraisers in benefit of TMA's mission. And so a lot of our volunteers have done that in organized walks or cycles or move as you can marathon type things in their communities. I never got to experience a Fun Fit Flex. I did hear a lot of great things about it, and it may return to TMA. We certainly could also explore other signature events. So we'd love to hear your ideas here as well. We can share that Heroes in the Fight, which is a very special event, will be coming back to the International Annual Patient Conference this September, as was done last year for the first time ever. And so that should be a really fun and festive night to celebrate the resilience of the myositis community and to honor a few select individuals who have really gone above and beyond in service to it. So again, I really appreciate the question and love to hear more about ideas for what we can launch in the future.
Thank you. How can you join TMA and become a member?
So that's nice and easy. If you go to our website, you have the ability to sign up to be a member. Membership is free. We do definitely encourage everyone to sign up as a member, whether you're a care partner, a person with myositis, whatever your role may be. It will keep you in the loop with the email communications and resource sharing and the latest updates that are out there regarding, clinical trials or studies that we would love the myositis community to participate in. So there's literally a place for you to click join as a member, and we'd love to see you a part of the TMA family.
Thank you. What is the latest research regarding IBM?
Oh, okay. I'm going to take this one first, Lori, if you don't mind, and then you can fill it
Sounds
in.
great.
Actually, during the registration signups for this meet and greet today, we had a couple different people asking about IBM research, and we have a question about which research projects TMA is currently supporting. So let me very succinctly attempt to speak to that. The latest research, especially around IBM, is very exciting, and we are so hopeful. There are 2 clinical trials for IBM right now that are currently recruiting, which is more than ever. And so just to feel that we are on the cusp of discoveries is amazing. And I know you all feel that right alongside the 3 of us. We're proud to have contributed, TMA is, to so much of the scientific evidence around myositis diagnosis and care. This year in 2024, we have 10 research projects that we are actively funding, and it's close to $500,000 in research funds in total for 2024, many, many millions of dollars over TMA's 31 years. So a couple that I just want to share because they are relevant to IBM research too is one is a former TMA medical advisor, Dr. Demachki, he's leading a phase 3 trial for rapamycin for IBM, and we are providing research funding for that project as part of our research grant program. There's also a phase 2/3 clinical trial by Abcuro, and I think probably you're all aware of that. It is listed on our website, on the TMA website for clinical trials. We also do promote non-drug trials on our website too for awareness. And, each of you has the opportunity to be a citizen scientist, if you will, and to participate in helping the science, research, and medical community continue to advance our knowledge. We have of the 10 projects that TMA is funding this year, you may be interested to know that 6 are pilot projects and 4 are fellowships. And I think that's a really nice division and just so nicely points to TMA's support for the pipeline of researchers and clinicians. So to have a fellowship, you have to be within 3 years of finishing your MD or PhD. And then the pilot grants typically are to more established investigators. But I feel like hope is here, and that's just an amazing feeling.
Did you want to expand on that, Lori?
Well, actually, I think Paula did a fabulous job explaining that one. It is obviously something that we are very proud of, and we do work closely with the Medical Advisory Board and their research committee to ensure that we're doing the best that we can to meet the research needs out there. So there's been work done, throughout the last couple of years, just perfecting the process and ensuring that, we're there hitting it where we need to in order to support research. With that said, I know that we are coming really close on time, but I did have there's a great question here from Larry asking about, saying how the cost to maintain items to keep myositis members mobile is extremely costly, and was wondering, is there any way that we can have a website or something to share these items? No, we do not have a website at this time. And someone else mentioned a Facebook group that, is helpful with that, but it's not TMA run. But I did want to let you know, there's a great opportunity to share. One of our new board members actually is in the Carolinas area, and that's something that she's passionate about and currently working to find some solutions for. So it would be a wonderful opportunity to get you guys together to, to talk and come up with some solutions to that problem and sharing within our community. And so that's with Mariel Parker, and she's one of our new board members.
Yes, Penn Foundation, they do great work. We are getting close to the end of the hour, and we definitely have at least one more poll question that we want to launch out there, because we wanted to poll all of you on whether or not we should do another meet and greet or keep this conversation going. So Lori, do you want to send that poll out to the group?
Absolutely.
Okay, so here we go. Should we do another meet and greet? Yes, yes,
So
yes,
when thinking
or
about it,
no options.
The people who didn't get their questions answered are probably definitely going to say yes. But I will say, knowing Paula already, she will want me to print out the report of the Q&A questions. She will also want me to get the chat saved so we can see what ended up in the chat. And I'm sure there will be some sort of follow-up.
Oh yeah, I'll probably want to make a word cloud and post it on our staff chat channel about all of the ideas and the comments and the questions. And you know, again, in the interest of transparency, I appreciate the questions about someone asked if TMA's budget roughly follows the mission, and I would say that it does. I mean, I shared the we have $410,000 in research funding this year in 2024. So I think we're definitely true to that part of the mission. Patient support, awareness, and advocacy. That's actually how our budget is organized by program. That's how the cost centers have been arranged. So yes, the answer to that question is yes.
I'm
all
going to
right, and I
try
see.
not to take it personally, but I think when she shares the results, they don't really want to see the rest of the staff. But I'm not going to take it
That's
personally.
fine.
They see me all the time, right? And I'm pulling Linda on too, so.
Well,
Go ahead.
that's great. I think we hear from them, and you know, trending at 55%, they'd like to bring a leader from the MAB, which is wonderful too, because we actually just had the opportunity, Paula and I, to chat with the new chair of the Medical Advisory Board, Dr. Namita Goyle. So that would be a great opportunity to get someone like her or one of the members of the MAB on here as well to meet and greet and hear from everyone. So I honestly just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. You guys have been absolutely wonderful today with your engagement within the chat, keeping those questions flowing and going. And we have some work to do, right? And we're excited about it. And we'll take all that information, you know, into account and go back and review the chat and everything that you've shared in the polls.
Thank you so much. Before I close out, Paula, did you want to say final words?
Well, you know, it's very difficult for me to turn down the opportunity to say any words ever, but the words I would like to say right now are just Myositis Awareness Month, May. We sadly didn't have a lot of time to get into it, but it's going to be here so soon. We're really excited about it. We have some great content that we're lining up for webinars. You know, we'll be doubling down on the normal empowerment clinic, Ask a Doc, and research webinars. And we're working with some of the other organizations that we partner with in myositis and in rare disease to bring you other content too. And then on top of that, of course, leading into the awareness, we'll be offering a toolkit to help each of you tell your story and share information about myositis. So there's a lot more to come on that. That's my final words. You know, Myositis Awareness Month coming up in May.
Thank you. Well, that's all the time we have. Thank you to Laurie and Paula for spending time with us today. Our next webinar will be a TMA Empowerment Clinic on the why and how of legislative advocacy. That webinar airs on Thursday, February 8th at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. You can register by accessing the events calendar on our website, myositis.org. And like Paula said, the recording of today's webinar will be available on TMA's YouTube channel by February 9th, and she will hold me to it. So on behalf of TMA, thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks everyone so much. This was a lot of fun.